Hello folks, Pipeman 1861 here. Well, it's hot. And that pretty well sums up my feelings about the week so far. It is very, very hot. And of course, I was out in it all day today. There was no indoor jobs, everything was outside. Just seems like the way it works, you know, whenever it's either 1,000 degrees or 20 below zero, you don't have a lot of indoor jobs. They all seem to be outside. But is what it is. I'm alive. Housekeeping. I am smoking my Missouri Meerschaum Kingston Judge with some Gawith and Hoggarth. American Delight, I think is what it is. Let's see. Yeah. American Delight. I got from Strauss Tobacconist in Florence, Kentucky. A little bit about my day today. Well, the first job I had today was in Kentucky, well, not too far away from Florence, and I had 4 jobs scheduled for today. I'm going to start the day off in Crestview Hills. Then I was going to Erlanger. These are all in Kentucky, not too far apart from each other. And I was going to go to Florence, and I was going to end up the day in Newport. So, my first job was also going to be the longest job. It was scheduled until about 12. 8:30 in the morning till 12 in the afternoon. Well, it was a apartment complex with multiple buildings, and they were wanting me to install new mortise cylinders in all the doors so that the individual tenant keys would work the front entry doors. Not very uncommon, so I was walking around putting these cylinders in. And the other thing they wanted me to do, there were 2 doors where the locks had been removed by person or persons unknown, and they wanted me to install new ones. And they're in case anybody on here is familiar with door hardware, they were Adams right dead latches, 30, let me see, inch and 1 1/8 inch back set, and the push paddles for the inside, and the regular mortise cylinder on the outside. Well, first door, the way you mount those locks to the door, there's 2 ways. The proper way, according to the factory, is you drill 2 holes through the frame, and then you tap the holes, and then you put 2 long machine screws, which come with every lock new, and you put it in that way. Well, the other way, and a much easier way in general, is you use what they call mounting tabs. They're a tab on the top and bottom of the cutout on the edge of the door, and they give you threaded holes to put the machine screws in to hold the lock in place. The drawback to drilling and tapping the door like the factory wants you to do it is on those aluminum storefront doors with the pane of glass, which is what those locks are installed in. They have a aluminum frame, hollow, and then they have a thin piece of aluminum, well, about 1/8 of an inch thick, and then the glass rests right up against that. And I don't know if you all are at all familiar with tempered glass, but tempered glass, you can wrap it with a hammer pretty good on the middle, and it won't break. You sneeze on it on the edge, and it will explode into millions and millions of tiny little chunks all over the place. Well, I think y'all can guess what happened. I automatic center punched 2 holes, because the door originally had mounting tabs. I didn't have any mounting tabs on my van, so all I had were the 2 new bolts that they were provided with the new lock. So I thought, well, we're going to try it. So center punched the 2 holes, as you're supposed to do. Started drilling the top hole with my drill, and you're supposed to kind of back off the pressure and kind of go real slow with the last little bit. That way you just kind of kiss the edge of the glass barely. Well, it had been a while since I installed one of those, and I did a little more than kiss the edge of the glass. My drill bit tapped it rather sharply, and that glass door exploded. Little chunks of glass went everywhere. All the glass fell out of the frame, and I was standing there, drill in one hand, just surveying my work, you know. Fortunately, my company has a glass door division. And they all have exceptionally good senses of humor, thankfully. So they sent out one of their guys, Scott. I'm sure he doesn't watch me, but just in case, thanks, Scott. I appreciate you. And he measured for the new piece of glass and put a piece of plywood in there temporarily. But that, anyway, that made that whole debacle made the job that was only supposed to take till 12 take until almost 2:30, because I had to clean up the glass, which was no small job. And then I had to get the, you know, make sure it was all gone, because there was a little kid and his mom walking up when I was trying to sweep it up. And of course, broken glass is shiny and pretty, and little kids love stuff like that. So he reached down and picked up a little piece. Thankfully, it breaks into chunks and not sharp, jagged things, but it's still sharp. You can still get cut on it. So I said, "Oh no, bud, don't do that." So I carefully took it out of his hand. He was all right, you know. He about 5 years old or so. And the poor mom's like, "Oh, thank you. Sorry about that." I was like, "Oh, just don't let him do that again." So we got through that mess with no casualties. I finished putting the lock on the door, installed a new hinge on the door. It's a lot easier to install those hinges when there's no glass in the door. That door's nice and light when there's no glass in it. My second job, like I said, was in Erlanger. I went down and did that one. That was a fairly quick, easy job, thankfully. And in my third job, I didn't get to my fourth job. I called up the shop and said, "Listen, I'm not going to make it to this fourth job." I got to my fourth job. It was a Taco Bell, actually, and they had a problem with their panic bar, and I fixed that pretty quick. And so we got that done. I was in Florence at that point, and so I went to the chiropractor, who's also in Florence. I don't get to go to him very often. He's only in on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and I'm very seldom off of work in time to go and see him. So I was happy to get the pretzel. It felt good. And then after that, I thought, you know what? I don't want to drive in rush hour traffic. I'm going to go to Strauss Tobacconist. I'm going to get myself a little bit of tobacco that I haven't tried before, and I'm going to go into that lovely air-conditioned smoking lounge. And I'm just going to have myself a nice, relaxing half hour, 45 minutes. And that's what I did. I sat down, and that's where I got this, you know, the American Delight, which is exceptional, by the way. I've never tried any of the Gawith Hoggarth aromatics. This is very, very good. I sat down and I had my meerschaum, and I just had myself a lovely time. Simply lovely. And then I drove home, and my little I noticed yesterday my little pocket pistol that I carry for my job, because when you work as a locksmith in Cincinnati, Ohio, you want to have a little bit more protection than most other people. So carry a little semi-automatic 32 caliber in a pocket holster. And pocket holsters, the drawback to those is whenever you sweat, which I do, the gun can get a little bit rusty. So I noticed some corrosion building, so I took it apart when I got home and cleaned it and oiled it and got it all nice and pretty again. As pretty as a gun from 1929 can be. It's an old J.P. Sauer and Son model 1930 technically, but it's an older variant of it. Maybe old, but it works. Kind of like my brain, you know. So, and then got done with that, and my camera battery was charged up enough to where I could make a video, so I figured here I am. I tell you, no, it got up to, I think, about 96, 97 degrees. It might have actually got up to 94 as an actual high, but I know in the, it was almost 100 heat index. Because, yeah. There's a reason I don't live down south or in Florida or anywhere like that. I don't like the heat. Florida, take your heat back. We don't want it, okay? My wife would disagree with me on that, but you know, it's what it is. But, no, it was kind of a crazy day, but it wasn't a horrible day. It just don't like breaking stuff that doesn't belong to me, you know? But what are you going to do? Can't do anything. Just have to fix it. Hope you all are having a good week so far. It's kind of like my grandpa always told me as a joke. I enjoyed. He used to tell me a joke. There was a fella went to the big city for the first time, and he wanted to see one of these big skyscrapers, you know. So he went up to Indianapolis. Never seen a story bigger than a building more than about 3 stories, you know. So he went up to Indianapolis, or insert your big city here, whatever, you know. And he walked into the biggest, tallest skyscraper they had. And he went up to the very top floor. He got off the elevator. Never been in an elevator before either. He was amazed at that. Well, he was looking over the edge. He wanted to see how far the ground was. He leaned over a little bit too far, and he fell off the top of the skyscraper. It's falling, floor to floor, and every floor he passed, there'd be a window open. And every window he passed, he would yell into the people on that floor, "So far, so good." So, I hope your week so far has been so far, so good. Because we all know something weird's going to happen eventually to us, you know, just don't know when. The fella with the skyscraper did, but you might not. So, the best you can do is say, "So far, so good." Anyway, folks, with that happy parting thought, I'm going to let you all go. As always, this is Pipe Man 1861 saying goodbye, good luck, may the good Lord take a liking to you. I'll see you all again real soon, and as always, happy smoking. Thank you, folks. Bye now.